A third-way alliance presidential candidate, Dr. Ekuru Aukot, has said he is not opposed to other candidates being included on the ballot paper. Speaking this morning, Aukot said he will be running on the ballot. He was speaking this morning. Let's listen in.
What we are speaking on goes beyond the person of myself, Ekuru Aukot, my running mate Emmanuel Nzai, and our party, Third Way Alliance Kenya. So the subject is a little bit rather long, so that's why we're asking for your patience. But it's all about the people of Kenya first. In this statement, we have put the country first in its entire address. Secondly, I want us to observe a minute of silence in honor of those who have since been killed because of these repeat polls, as well as other Kenyans who have lost their lives because we currently do not have an effective and responsive government in place. Of course, we blame all this on our bickering, whether we should go to the repeat polls on October 26 or not. So let's please observe a minute of silence in honor of those who are departed. Thank you. Thirdly, we want to thank the High Court of Kenya for upholding rule of law yet again in its judgment and for reversing IEBC's discriminatory decision to exclude us from the fresh elections. We are delighted that more than often our courts are coming out in defense of the Kenyan Constitution and the rule of law. Adherence to rule of law is the platform on which Kenya will be able to jump and fly to great social and economic heights. Now, let me more specifically speak about the decision from our courts. I just want to make reference to two. Now, the recent Supreme Court judgment on the 1st of September, whose detailed ruling was delivered on the 21st, raised the hopes of many Kenyans that our courts have capacity to handle and resolve electoral disputes exhaustively. The High Court judgment gives a great opportunity again for the Kenyan voter to address their concerns and worries at the ballot. The judgment has affirmed that the right to elect a leader of your choice is not only important but also real. The IEBC had made an erroneous decision to declare a runoff between two candidates as opposed to the Supreme Court's order to organize and hold fresh elections. The decision clearly put the Kenyan voter between a rock and a hard place, as they say, to elect the lesser evil. We hope that this impartial decision will not be replicated by IEBC when tallying results of the forthcoming elections. I now want to speak about continued bad political leadership in our country. We are concerned that some politicians have a sense of entitlement in this country at the exclusion of all Kenyans. The country is today in a state of standstill because of a group of politicians. Any leader who has respect for the people he or she purports to lead must not invite anarchy to his or her nation. We wish to remind the political class of this country, ourselves included, that we are only a very tiny minority in a crowd of 45 million Kenyans. The silent majority of our country will soon rise up and wipe us all if we do not put our acts together, even as we seek to lead the majority.
Well, let's speak to our reporter Timothy Otieno, who has been keeping up with these developments. Timothy now joining us live. Timothy, initially Ekuru Aukot seemed to have been opposed to having the rest of the presidential candidates on the ballot. He seems to have changed tune, however. What do you read from all of this?
Well, a change of heart, Michelle, by the Third Way Alliance party leader and presidential aspirant, who is now changing tune and saying that he does not oppose the inclusion of all 7 previous candidates of the August 8th poll being gazetted to go for the October 26th presidential poll. Now, the reason why he believes he has softened his stand, he has said it's for the sake of the country and of the sake of the fact that the electioneering period has extended for too long and has even affected the economy of the country. Now, in a press statement that he has just since spoken to the media, he touched on very many areas, including the ongoing nurses strike, police brutality, and the economy that he said is truly suffering because of the extended period of the campaigns, especially for the presidential elections, and hence the reason he saw that opposing the inclusion of other candidates to go for the October 26th re-election would create another political quagmire that he did not wish the country to go. But aside from that, he has also talked about the meeting that he had with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission yesterday, in which he says he is, quote-unquote, somewhat happy with the progress being made by the Commission, although he still feels that the Commission needs to do a lot more to ensure that the repeat poll is fairer and that no emerging issues that were pointed out by the Supreme Court in its September 1st ruling will affect this particular elections. Now, he said that in the meeting with the IEBC, he was taken through what the Commission is doing to ensure clear and safe transmission of results, because according to him, the message that he got from the IEBC is that the issue was not really the voting but the transmission of results. However, he raised concern that the Commission did not give its submission in writing to him, his person and his party in regards to what they were doing in terms of ensuring that the transmission will go on smoothly, and that he was requesting the Commission to do that in writing. But the meeting that he had with the IBC yesterday, according to him, somewhat convinced, although not totally convinced, even though he says that Aukot did, however, say that he is intending to go to the ballot on the 26th, and hopefully that this time round the elections will go free, fair and smoothly, and ensure that the country ends this long-standing political stalemate that he believes is costing the country billions of shillings. Michelle.
All right, Timothy, quite a few things in relation to this. First of all, I understand that 3 days after that ruling that allowed Ekuru Aukot in the ballot, there has been an appeal filed at the Court of Appeal seeking to bar Ekuru Aukot and the rest of the presidential candidates from taking place in this as well. But even as that happens, the likes of Abduba Dida have already made it vocal that there are a few minimums that they wish that the IEBC fulfills before this election. What are some of these minimums they are talking about?
Well, in particular, Ekuru Aukot has spoken about the fact that he wants the IEBC to put in writing how much prepared they are for the October 26th presidential poll. According to his meeting with the IEBC officials yesterday, they did tell him the level of preparedness, but this was a verbal assurance. He needs this to be put in writing. Another demand that Ekuru Aukot has given through this press statement this afternoon is that he wishes the IEBC to come out in public and assure the country that the preparations that are ongoing for the repeat presidential poll are indeed underway and that there is no cause for concern. According to Aukot, the IEBC has been engaging more with the political class as opposed to the nation in its entirety and the over 15 million registered voters who will most likely be going back to the polls on the 26th, as the IEBC has indicated. Now, so for Aukot, he wants the submissions issued by the IEBC to be in writing. And he also wants the IEBC to come out in public through a press conference to address the nation on how well they are prepared in conducting the re-election. Michelle.
All right, many thanks, Timothy Otieno there, coming to us live from Kilimani as we keep an eye on the state of the nation, just 11 days to the date set for the repeat presidential election.